faculty of crime.
What is up, everybody? Happy Saturday. I don't normally see you on a Saturday. What's up? Randy B. Yeah, how you doing? One of my favorites, Rebecca. Oh, so today is a good day. I went and bought a new bed, like my forever bed. And then we went out and ate Thai food. And yeah, it was spicy. So I had some heartburn. That's why I'm a little late, but I'm here. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Sonia, let's spend this Saturday together. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm doing good. I'm doing good now. I took a heartburn pill. It happens when you get older. Carrie, how you doing? Happy birthday to Paul, by the way. Today is Paul's 36th birthday, so happy 36th birthday to Paul. No, I ate Thai food, and it was just the Thai. I had red Thai or red curry, and it's a little too spicy, but it's all good. What's up, Stargy? Uncle Chai. I don't have a cold. I have allergies. There's like the weather is it's been 90 degrees and a bit windy. So when that happens, and then I don't have a roof, no roof in the house, so I get allergies when this stinking weather. But I feel great. No worries. Yeah, happy birthday, Paul. Let's get into it today. We are going over the reaction to Jennifer Soto analysis of the behavior panel. It's very, very new. Stormcat, you're not early, you're right on time, and I was a little bit late. So let's get this started. I popped in a little late, and but I'm here. It's a Saturday, and we'll probably be here for a good 2 hours. You know how I do. All right, so let's get started with this. This is the behavior panel. You all know, you probably saw Grizzly do analysis of this as well. I didn't watch her analysis, but we're going to do analysis together. It came out 2 days ago. You know, I do not have a roof. They took not the roof, the ceiling. I have the ceiling, the roof fell in, and then they had to remove the ceilings because of asbestos. So I went and bought a bed today. It was almost $5,000, y'all. Gothic Bree, happy birthday, Paul. Member for 5 months. Definitely didn't miss this. Hello, everybody. Let's get justice for Madeline Soto. Amber says, good morning. Good morning. Sunday morning in OZ. All right. So, anybody, if you guys become a member, gift memberships, PayPal's, Cash App, Venmo, Super Chats, and Super Stickers. Thank you. All right, let's get started into this since I am late. Let's see. Yeah, everybody's talking about storms out in Florida. Well, California had a storm in March and it hit my house hard. So we're living in one room and it's pretty crazy, but I'm not going to complain. I got a brand new bed today. It goes up and down type of bed, sleep number, all that. Good to go. Yeah, you said you bought a purple mattress 4K. Yeah, best expense ever. We went and tried out beds today. It was crazy. And then we had Ty. All right, let's go. Jennifer Soto's behavior in the police interview with the behavior panel. I love their opinion. Let's see if they're on point today.
I realized I forgot to take my meds, and I said, "You guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds."
Always.
I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep. I suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together, but not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks. We have a king size bed, and she typically sleeps on one side, and she'll end up on my side when we wake up. Okay. So I asked her, I'm like, "No, please, I need a good night's sleep. If you guys can go upstairs and let me sleep." I had asked Stephan to take her to school in the morning.
We'll go to Sunday. So Sunday you took your meds. What meds, if you don't mind me asking, what meds do you take? And like, how does it, can it put you to sleep deep? Does it help you fall asleep, or does it help regulate you? What kind of happens when you take the meds?
So they do all of the above. They make me sleepy, they help me stay asleep, and they help me function. So I'm stable all day. They only work well if I've got a good night's sleep and if I've eaten with them the night before when I take them, or the night I take them. The medication is called Giadam.
This is all she wants to do is sleep, y'all. Sleep, 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 sleep. That's all she does. So this lady sleeps too much. Some of us don't get enough sleep. Some of us have, medical issues. And yeah, I don't have a medical issue, but I'm about to, sleeping on the couch for almost 7 months now. Do me a favor, hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. I'm almost at 18,000. I'm about 28 short. So if you can, please do. And let's roast the potato. And let's hope that the behavior panel roasts her as well. She's depressed. Yeah, I'd be depressed too, lady, if I was you and I just slept all day. 3 hours of sleep, that's not good. I need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Otherwise I just can't function. All right, let's listen to her. Generic brand. She knows all of her medicines. She knows all about sleep, and that's all she talks about for a while. I can't wait to see what the behavior panel says.
Generic brand is called Ziprazidone. I took my meds.
All right, I'll go first on this one. And before we get started, I got a little information for you about our great friend, Peter Hyatt. He's been diagnosed with cancer, and he may need a little bit of a good word from you. If you get a chance, get over there to his channel and say hey to him that you're thinking about him. And apparently this just happened recently, and he's in the hospital right now. And he's had surgery. He's doing okay. We've been emailing back and forth. And some good thoughts would be awesome if you go over there and just say hi to him and let him know you're thinking about him and praying for him. All right. So I'll get into this now. So overall, she looks tense.
You guys say a prayer as well for these guys. They're great. They've been doing it for a long time. You all know who this is. If you have not subscribed to their channel, please do. And hit the like button on your way in or on your way out. Thank you guys for being here.
And stiff. This is sort of for me as we go through these videos. It's a great baseline for her because this is what she's going to go back to every time she has to get focused or starts to protect herself, or here's a bunch of information she doesn't like. This is what starts happening. And it's normal to do this because when you're nervous, when somebody's being aggressive towards you, you'll do things like this. You'll have your legs together like she does, and she puts her arm across her lap and has the other hand there flat on her lap. And then she's holding that hoodie pocket and kind of goofs around with that. So she's adapting with that. When you adapt with something, any repetitive behavior, anything you do over and over, that's sort of self-soothing behavior. And then she keeps her elbows and her arms close to her side as well. So all these things let us know she's stressed, but obviously you can see that she's stressed. Her illustrators are small. They're not going out out in the front. They're fairly small, which lets us know as well that from Aldrich Frey's studies, that when the smaller the illustrators are and when they disappear, that most likely indicates deception. But in this case, I think she's got so much inner dialogue going on, trying to structure what she's going to say. All the brain power is going toward that, what little brain power there may be. Her voice and cadence seems fairly normal, and her speed, and the cadence is the speed, and her diction's fairly clean as well, because I think she's focused on what's going on and she's trying to protect herself at this point. That's what it looks like to me, just my opinion. Not much moving her head yet. And we hear a couple of the big deep breaths or deep sighs trying to get rid of that built up stress and tension as well. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, let me pick up on those illustrators that you're talking about there.
This is actually really good to finally have the behavior panel analyzing this. I've been waiting for Deception Detective to do this, but he doesn't do body or behavior analysis. He does it based on words. And hello, Mom. Love you. Good to see you today online. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Now, this is the first time we've seen this from these, these guys that are so qualified. So I'm sure there are other channels that analyze her behavior, but this is good because this is the first time we've seen her actual behavior in this video. We heard a lot of audio, but we haven't seen this. So closed off and protective for herself is absolutely right. I've said that since the beginning, and I think we all have felt that way. Instead of her being scared for Maddie, she's always been scared for herself. And
because I think you're right. There's a lot right with them, but there's some issues that I have with them. The baton gestures that she's doing, that's the gestures that conduct along to the rhythm of the speech. Scott, you often say specific words and phrases, but what you don't do during that is specific words and phrases. You're not gesturing on absolutely every syllable. So with these baton gestures, I would say there's, what we might call in medicine a window of therapy. There's just enough at the right time, and there's too many too often. Potentially at the right time, but too many too often. And I would say she's got too many too often in certain places. It's too emphatic, it's too staccato, it's too rhythmic for me to be satisfied about how confident she is about what she's saying. She's almost overemphasizing and trying to be overconfident about it. Now, on what is it? I realized I forgot to take my meds. I needed a good night's sleep. Sent them upstairs. So she's really trying to be emphatic around, she realized she forgot to take her meds, she needs sleep, she sent them upstairs. It's illness that was responsible for them being in the same location is what she's really trying to get across to us. It's her illness, her need for sleep, that means these two had to be sent into the same proximity.
Now, does this give her a freebie pass for anybody here? Rebecca says Jen said Maddie was all over the bed. Well, why did you three sleep in the bed? Does anybody give her a freebie pass other than the police? She seems to get quite a freebie pass, although in one portion of it, they get angry with her and say, listen, lady, do you know what's really happening? She's not gotten arrested so far. Yet we're still scrutinizing her. Yeah, it doesn't mean there's a freebie pass, but it's working up to now, y'all. And these are definitely amazing points, but she is using that, and she's used that as an excuse the entire time. She's bipolar. She takes medicine. On and on and on, excuse after excuse, and it keeps on working for her, and I don't know why. Really need to look at this case harder. To the officers, please do sign the arrest Jen Soto. I'll put that in chat. Let's keep going because we don't see her being arrested anytime soon. She does not have immunity. Let's get that clear.
Proximity to each other. Now we'll find out, I think, as we go later on, why this is so important for her to get this story across. But she's protesting a little bit too much, too emphatic on this story, I would say, from my opinion on this. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Let's talk about a few things. Of course, we expect to see her feel some stress. She's missing a child. She's being interviewed by police officers, and everyone knows you're suspect immediately when that happens. So she should show some stress. What she shouldn't do is something very interesting to me. I love cadence. Scott, you call it loping. Boom, ba-boom, 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 boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. When a person does a pregnant pause after they say something with a lilt at the end, that's one of two times. The person may say, my good friend Diddy, and then pause to wait and see how you respond. Before, that would have been a good thing. Today, it would be a bad one. The second way that's used is bracing for impact. As I was driving home from the bar, pause and prepare for the impact. Either one of those is a little odd to use in this setting, but she does. She very specifically says that she says after the bedroom to the guest bedroom with a question mark and then a pause. She's waiting for the impact. She knows that's wrong, I think, right out of the gate right out of the gate, this is awkward. This is not natural. This is not normal. I'll just leave it at that one thing. Let me add one more. She does if you own a cat, you've ever seen the cats do that little footstep thing they do. She does that when she's pressed on that question about the bedroom. You see her feet do a little cat prance.
My wife is a private investigator.
No, we're not going to look at the private investigator. Let's keep going. Hold on.
I think they do. But we see her covering the uterus here and reaching across and covering this uterine area. And genital protection is common in situations like this. You'll see men protect a whole different area, which is pretty obvious. So far, every single thing is about her feelings and how everything affects her. And we're going to see if maybe that's going to change. Maybe it'll be about other people and have a lot of empathy.
No.
From her behavior, it seems like there's a struggle with guilt and shame. And I think maybe a deep desire to see some justice served here to somebody else. I think that might be lurking in the background. From what I understand here, she was allowing her daughter to sleep in this bed with this guy, and she's gone through everything she has. And this self-focus might have heavily contributed to the situation happening like that. And when somebody has a hard time with empathy, they tend to make decisions solely focused on how they will benefit. There's still no direct accusation that I'm hearing from her. So there's a possibility.
Now, this interview is pretty long. I'm wondering what portion they're going to do. This is out like an hour and 23 minutes. Now, you got to remember in one portion of one of the interviews, she asks if it's okay or if she could make up her mind later if she wants to press charges against Stephan Sterns. So I really do think that she has prior knowledge or guilty knowledge. I think when she talked about Woody Allen, and her biggest fear was that they would have a Woody Allen situation where Maddie falls in love with Stephan and they leave her. That right there is knowledge. And let's get this straight. She did not get a deal. She got a one-time for that interview because they wanted her to talk and give them something, which she never really gave them anything. She didn't give them anything. All right. You guys have seen some of this. I saw parts of it, not all of it. They need to analyze the whole interview. I really hope they do. I don't know. They're spending quite a bit of time on one part of it.
She's seeking justice in some kind of a covert way, and that might be possible. And maybe that she's only doing her best, and maybe she's doing that to ensure she's not seen as a contributing factor to the crime. And that seems like a picture that's trying to be painted right here. I'm not an expert on the case, and I'm only going off behavior here. So just the behavior in this video is way off. So I think it's a good thing that we're not going through evidence here, and we're just going on the behavior. And keep in mind, we say it a lot, we're not the forensics panel or the case analysis panel. We're just looking at behaviors in these videos.
Wave of depression that I haven't felt in years. It was my bipolar symptoms coming up again that I've been medicating myself for all this time. I realized I forgot to take my meds.
All right, so bipolar, her and Stephan have this word for word together where they both say they're wiped out, they're tired, they're exhausted because of their pills. I'm zonked out, my bipolar. Listen to her, excuse after excuse because of her medicine. I know they're going to talk about this again. We've said that, but they're looking at her body behavior, not necessarily what she's saying. She's really closed off in this, and I don't understand her hand gesture. She's got it really closed off to them, and I'm wondering what they're going to say. She's standing like this the whole time, which is really weird. Pamela Borges, Saturday night. Chugga chugga chug. We can't do the choo choo one. Nobody likes that. I think somebody Gray does that. I don't know. But thank you for the $10 super chat. Let's keep riding the train, please. Thank you.
I said, you guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds. I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep.
Thank you.
Have you suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together?
Thank you.
But not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks. We have a king size bed and she typically sleeps on one side and she'll end up on my side when we wake up.
Okay.
So I asked her, I'm like, no, please, I need a good night's sleep. If you guys can go upstairs and let me sleep. I had asked Stephan to take her to school in the morning.
Let me tell you something really quickly. Now, this story is the same. We're going to hear along. I do want to see the body language expert portion because I'm seeing a weird body language from her. And I'm not a body language expert, but I can analyze words. Marissa, your perspective is Jen being on trazodone. Grandma should not have been given custody. Tyler should have been given custody. Tyler Wallace was a very active parent. He was as active as Jen would allow him to be. It's not my story to tell, so I'm going to let Tyler talk when he's ready. But it's not that grandma should have had her. Tyler should have had her, and grandma shouldn't have fought for her so much with Jen Soto in the younger years. That's all I'm going to say. He can bring receipts later on and show that he fought for years and show you all the text messages of Jen fighting with him over Maddie and not letting him easily see her. Tyler should have had custody of her. And nothing against you, Marissa, but he was a very active parent. Say her name, Maddie, right?
We'll go to Sunday. So Sunday you took your meds. What meds, if you don't mind me asking, what meds do you take? And like, how does it, can it put you to sleep deep? Does it help you fall asleep or does it help regulate you? What kind of happens when you take the meds?
So they do all of the above. They make me sleepy. They help me stay asleep, and they help me function. So I'm stable all day. They only work well if I've got a good night's sleep and if I've eaten with them the night before when I take them, or the night I take them.
All about her.
The medication is called Giadon. Generic brand is called Ziprazidone. I took my meds.
Yep.
I took my meds. And then I told them to start getting ready for bed, to start heading upstairs and get ready because it was already almost 11 o'clock. It's past her bedtime. She needs to go to sleep.
She does. She loves to talk about her meds.
I think he may have come down at one point to pee before bed. And then he went back upstairs. He uses my restroom because the roommate.
She remembers that portion of it, but remember, this was all within a 30-minute period. She got home at 10:30, saw them right away, and sent them to bed or to do bedtime routines, which they had already done all the bedtime routines. Supposedly, they were watching the sister act, and she sent them up there. It's all about her. It's all about her meds. Everything is meds, 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 meds. And that is a good defense. If she does ever get arrested, being on those meds and being clinically depressed and not, neglecting her daughter, it will be a defense. It's not a good defense that we ever want to see, but it is. Can we all agree how cute Jay looks tonight? Fave YouTube ever. Well, thank you. You guys see my Beetlejuice shirt? Check it out. Look at that. Beetlejuice. Anyway, thank you. I didn't even notice. Thank you. It's always the pills with them. It's both of them. Zonked out, zoned out. She criticizes the way Maddie sleeps. She criticizes everything about her. Let's be real. Akira, thank you for the $5 super chat. In my opinion, Jen's obsessed with her meds. No chance she forgot to take them. I call BS. So do I. Definitely call BS. And again, I can't emphasize enough. They should have given Tyler custody. Grandma should have never fought for Maddie to keep her. They should have gave Jen part-time custody. All right. You can email me and I'll send you the link to this shirt. How about that? Beetlejuice, y'all. All right, let's go. Let's listen to this crazy lady. Her body language drives me nuts. Look at that. I don't know why she holds her hands like this. It's like she doesn't have functions of her hands. One hand's like this and one hand like this. That's all I know about body or behavior.
It's upstairs, don't want to share a restroom with a male. Yeah, so he uses my restroom.
Yeah.
Sorry, where did
You're fine. Sunday night he came
What?
downstairs, maybe overnight to use the
Oh.
restroom.
Yeah, and then he went back upstairs and they went to sleep. Or right, they went to sleep.
Okay.
I don't know. I went to sleep. I was woken up at some time.
Right? Look at her hands. It's like,
For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready for school. But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark.
look, I'm a good behavior or body. I should be on the behavior panel and say, why is Jen holding her hands like a freaking, like she can't open them? So weird. Fem Dandy, thank you. Slept all day on meds just like this loser. So now I'm rushing to get ready for work. I'm just listening. Love you. Well, if you have young kids that you need to take care of, shame on you. But I know you don't. So love you and go have a good time at work the best you can. Sock puppets, right? Does she have sock puppets on her hands? Because she's like, oh, so weird. I never understood that.
And I was very sleepy when I got up. I was kind of drunk. But he came in to walk the dog, to put the leash on the dog and walk him.
Was the dog in the room with you?
Yes.
So did he wake you up on purpose, or was it just kind of like the causation of him opening the door and you realizing somebody was there?
Yeah, the causation of him putting the leash on the dog, because the way the dog reacted, he gets very nervous and will urinate. If you put the leash on him too directly, you have to like be nice and talk to him. He's a very he's a nervous dog. Yeah.
That's a weird
So,
way to do it, though.
I got up to try to help him, and he said, "No, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this." And I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." So I laid back down and went to sleep.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, now we start to see her knowing that this guy's got some pressure on her, but she starts this ums for a pause. She does she's got her forehead up. I always call that request for approval. It doesn't mean you're lying. It simply means I need input. I need to know that you're believing me as she tells her story. She has hard eye contact, and her facts start to use your term, Scott. I'll let you talk about what fading facts are in just a minute. But she trails off when she gets to pertinent information. Pertinent information is the only time we hear her voice lower and trail. And Chase, you're going to be all over your 10th shift, so I'll leave that. But I think some of it may be colloquially or maybe even just education. She's got throwaway words when she says, "I sent him upstairs." That starts to make you feel like, why are you lowering your tone when you talk about something that admits guilt in contributing to the problem? Now, some people may do something that contributes to a problem and feel that way if they did it one time and it caused a problem. I think if we pay attention, we're going to find out it's more than one time. And then why the words pee with a lilt and sudden foot movement? He came downstairs
Sorry,
to pee.
y'all.
Well, okay. Why the sudden foot movement? Is there a connotation? Is there something tied to that? Likely tied to something in her relationship with him that makes her even feel like she's admitting guilt as she goes. And then she does that withdrawal of the sides of the mouth when they're talking about him using her restroom. That, Mark, you'll call it bitter taste, or we'll call it disdain. And then an edit when she says he went back upstairs and went to sleep with double hands clasped to her chest and her brow up and a head shake. That when she starts trying to deny that she knew it for a fact, that looks like trying to hide some or to create a cluster of deniability. So she's getting out of this. Right here is when I started going, And the first one, anybody could have a lot of different feelings.
This is good analysis on Jan. I love that we're looking at her behavior, her physical behavior, because she is weird in her gestures and her things and the way she does things. And I guess protection. Pretend judge. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Jail equals Jen's pills and Boone's 90 proof toilet hooch. Yeah, what is she gonna do if she gets arrested? Stefan's gonna have to go through he's already gone through all the withdrawals and everything. My tie, a couch potato with sock puppets is diabolical. Yeah, I can't unsee that now. I thought of her as a potato, but now I'm seeing lots of other things. What they're saying is absolutely, it's nailing it, but I want to see further, and I want to talk about her being guilty, like you all
Feelings when they come in. When you get to this much shaking off responsibility or knowledge, and you supposedly don't know she's dead. This is an interesting kind of twist. You know something's wrong, and you know that you've contributed in some way, likely. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, you're right. The pressure's certainly on for her because she's pretty much locked down her gestures, locked down her body language, apart from those expressions that you're seeing on the face. However, the baton gestures, again, those gestures that conduct along to the rhythm of the speech, they come up again on she needs to go to sleep. She needs to go to sleep. So obviously some stress around that. I think she needs to enforce the reason that the daughter is in proximity with this boyfriend, this male, and a reasonable reason, which is she needs to go to sleep. So we've got illness, we've got the mother needs to sleep, now the daughter needs to sleep, and I think the idea is it would be reasonable now that the daughter and the boyfriend go upstairs to a room or rooms together. And just, I think, as you were saying, Chase, that we're taken off the path of feeling that she might be contributing to any crime going on. That, sure, it might be accidental, but she's not a contributor. She's not a knowing contributor to this. Okay, fine. But why so much stress on all these reasonable reasons why these two should end up in a very close proximity at this time? Just like you, Greg, 2 videos in, and I'm very uncomfortable with the story that's going on here and the minimal body language that's going on around this. Chase, what are you going to...
What is interesting before he gets into it is, yeah, Jamila, you say exactly. She's been justifying her actions since day one. And many people say, well, if we find out that she's guilty, we already found out that she's guilty. She's guilty of neglecting Maddie for years and letting Stephan Sterns abuse her. She's guilty for sending them to bed together. An ex-boyfriend that has a bunch of weird kinks that she knows about, is into PORN and a bunch of other things that she's told us. Now, how could we say if we find out that she's guilty? She is guilty of what she's already told us. Yeah, they are uncomfortable with this. I don't know if maybe they haven't looked at all of the interviews like we have, but I'm glad you're late. Better late than never, and I'm glad that you're here. Okay, so I watched another retired FBI on the show today. Everyone I've seen says she knows. Everybody says that. Everybody says that. But she's not arrested. Why?
On this one.
She says she doesn't want to share a restroom with a male. But I'm wondering if she's uncomfortable sharing a bed with one. This was mind-blowing to me, just really unusual. This two-handed gesture that she's doing on the chest here is something you're going to see when people are trying to communicate innocence and sincerity. When it's one hand like this, it's more likely to be sincerity. This? When two hands are present, it's more likely to be a proclamation of innocence. There aren't studies on this, but keep in mind the studies that you might read are severely flawed. They don't account for real life outside of a college laboratory with college kids. And I say this about this gesture only from experience. I've seen it 1,000 times, 20,000 times. When she's doing this hand to chest gesture, you're going to notice something else happening. There's a sudden lack of fluency. There's hesitation. And very quickly, the gestures no longer match up with any of her speech. It's just kind of erratic, and everything is disjointed compared to the way she spoke about other elements of her story. You're also going to hear some fading facts here, which Scott is probably about to educate you in, especially when she says, I was awoken up at some time. I was awoken up at some time. Just in this video, there's hesitancy, disfluency, a sudden loss of confidence. When someone doesn't know a time, they will guess. Even you.
I think the only one that even close to supports her or doesn't find her really guilty is Dr. G. It's really interesting. We've covered that before. They definitely find a lot of weird characteristics about her, and it's interesting about the hand gestures. I did not notice that before, about her covering her genital areas or whatever have you guys are talking about. I didn't notice that before. I just noticed she seemed uncomfortable with her hands on her lap in a very weird position. I've seen her before talking to police or talking to the media, and I noticed she always stands real like real awkward, just not natural.
You or any of the friends that you know, they don't know a time. It was about this time. It was about that time. When they won't guess and they give ambiguous details, there's usually something going on there. And the way to tell if something is going on to see if there are other behaviors present is to look for that cluster. What we're seeing in this video is called a cluster. We're seeing a cluster of behavior. There's something off about this entire statement. And I'd be digging a lot more into this if I was the interrogator or the interviewer here. Her behavior looks like there are small fragments of truth that might have been borrowed from other times in her life. It's like going to bed, someone coming downstairs to pee. I'm just kind of regurgitating some of those things. That's a very good sign. When you see this shift in tense, I'm doing, I did, he's going, he came downstairs, and it's like present and past mixing up. Typically, the stuff that's in present tense is the truth that's borrowed from other experiences, and the stuff that's in past tense is made up. Scott, what do you got?
All right. That initial deep breath out again. We'll do that like if you almost get hit by a car or a truck almost hits you, almost go head on. Once it's over, you take that deep breath and go, ah. So he's starting to box her in here like early on. So, and I agree with you. He is doing a great job with this thing. So she's trying to get rid of that built up stress and tension. When she's getting specific about the time she woke up, and I think she's changing her story there. Things sound a little bit differently than they did. And then as she talks.
Yeah, I don't think these guys have deep dived into Jennifer Soto or this case very much because she's changed her story many times. She also, as they're talking about this, I realized not only does she change tense very often, but she changes different parts of her story, and she adds weird, unusual parts of the story that really don't mean anything to anybody about Madeline missing. Or at this point, she knows that she's not alive. So what good does that? What does that say to you that Stephan Sterns came upstairs to go pee? What does that mean? What did he really come up for? What did he say to her? What's going on in this that she's thinking about that she has to say he went pee? Was there something else that happened? Did he run upstairs to tell her that something happened to Maddie, or maybe she's not breathing? In my mind, she's thinking something else and saying another thing.
Talks about this dog leash thing, she's speeding up. Her cadence gets faster. When we're saying something we know we shouldn't be saying, quite often we're being deceptive for whatever reason she might be being that way here. We'll speed up to get through it because we want to get it over with. Your brain goes, man, we shouldn't be doing this. We need to get through this. Let's get it done. So I believe that's what's happened here because I've seen that before, and it feels weird to me because everything's just flowing right along. And then she speeds up in that, and then it slows back down to where it was. So, and then she puts both her hands under her legs. How often have you seen that when somebody's not in trouble for something? Granted, she knows she's on the hot seat, pardon the pun, but I don't know, man. A lot of things in here that show something's not right, and she's showing she's protected.
And she should not be in the hot seat, you guys. If you are missing a son or a daughter or a child or a dog, you shouldn't be in the hot seat for anything. You should be telling an officer what happened so that they can find her or they can solve the case. In this case, it's with Stephan Sterns and them seeing Maddie in the front seat with her mouth wide open and them knowing or thinking they know what they know. She should not technically be in the hot seat. Think about that, whatever's going through her mind. Something that she has, the guilty knowledge that she has is doing that. It's making her behave and say these things that she's saying and doing.
Protecting yourself. And when you put your hands under your legs, that's a big adapter because that's a lot of weight down on your hands. So that's helping you get rid of that built up stress and tension as well. And then as she keeps going, that left arm in Illustrator keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And when you guys are talking about fading facts, like we're seeing here, when she's talking, as you go along, again, talking about what your brain might be thinking as you're telling something that you may not fully believe in or maybe deception, you'll get quieter as you go along. Sometimes you can go through a whole sentence and it gets quieter at the end like that. Or you'll get to the end of the sentence and all of a sudden you get quiet like that. So it's something to pay attention to. It's the volume of the voice as you go as it fades. And they're supposed to be giving you a fact and it's fading. It's getting quieter as it goes along. That's why we call it fading facts. All right, we good? All right. Okay, Mark. Damn, that was good.
I took my meds. And then I told them to start getting ready to start heading upstairs and get ready to go.
All right, again with her meds. If we were to play a drinking game, we would be drunk already. The drinking game being every time Jen talks about her meds, we take a drink. All right. So listen to this. Again, she starts off a sentence with, I took my meds. And then, how many times did you take your meds in a 24-hour period, lady? I thought you were only supposed to take your meds in the morning or at night. Why does she keep saying that? I'm curious. I think it's for if she gets in trouble to use that as a heavy defense about her meds.
Already almost 11 o'clock is past her bedtime. She needs to go to sleep. So I sent them upstairs. I think he may have come down at one point to pee before bed. And then he went back upstairs. He uses my restroom because the roommates upstairs don't want to share a restroom with a male. Yeah, so he uses my restroom.
Do you guys think they don't want to share a restroom with him because he was taking pictures under the door? Remember that? They didn't want him anywhere near their restroom because they found pictures of themselves and roommates under the door, the way it was, the way he had the camera facing. That's what I think. And the thing she's whatever she's not saying, that's also another indicator she's lying. What is that? Yeah, just no point for her to say that he went up to go pee. What I would ask her if I was officers, when he came up to go pee, did he say anything to you? How did he look? Was he acting weird? Look at her hands. It's like, what is she doing?
Sorry, where did
You're fine. Sunday night he came downstairs, maybe overnight to use the restroom.
Yeah, and then he went back upstairs and they went to sleep. Or what I think they went to sleep.
Okay.
I don't know. I went to sleep. I was woken up at some time. For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready for school. But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark. And I was very sleepy when I got up. I was kind of drunk. But he came in to walk the dog, to put the leash on the dog and walk him.
With the dog in the room with you?
Yes.
So did he wake you up on purpose, or was it just kind of like the causation of him opening the door and you realizing somebody was there?
Yeah, the causation of him putting the leash on the dog, because the way the dog reacted, he gets very nervous and will urinate. If you put the leash on him too directly, you have to like be nice and talk to him. He's a very he's a nervous dog, yeah. So
everybody in that house is nervous, has anxiety, and takes meds. I wonder if her dog takes meds. Now, I still can't understand why she's laughing like that. It sounds like a nervous laugh to me. I wonder if the behavior panel is going to call that out. And yeah, she is covering, now that I notice, and you guys have said it, my mom just said it, she's covering her areas, her private areas, for some reason. And she must be feeling uncomfortable in a weird way. I don't know, because there's two officers staring at her and she has guilty knowledge. I'm not sure.
I got up to try to help him and he said, no, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this. And I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. So I laid back down and went to sleep.
Went back to sleep, y'all. No sound.
We'll go upstairs to the guest bedroom upstairs because I just
No sound.
he's not a very clean guy. He's kind of a little hoarder and a collector. So
why have your daughter with him?
The way that I wanted it to look. Or the
Blame it on Stephan.
So I asked him to move upstairs and he did. And he lived upstairs until until December of last year. And then he moved to Northport, Florida with his parents. But they had promised him a job, but that fell through. So we were in the process of trying to get him to come back up here to get his job back at Disney and for him to move back into the house for a little bit. And I'm not sure long term. I know temporarily I was willing to accept him back.
Was that something out of convenience for him because you?
A little bit of both. We missed him. And I wanted to help him out, like make it easy, like give him a place, like a base to start at, and then for him to start looking for something else afterwards. And
I wonder if the officer is thinking, why didn't you care for Maddie that way and give her a base to get a good life and to do good at school and not to be sleepy every day and to just really focus in on her and her needs as a 13-year-old girl now, 12, 13-year-old girl. Again, there she is with her weird, she's playing, it looks like she's playing with her string and I don't know, she is closed off, she's got her legs crossed. I wonder if they're going to talk about her fidgeting like that, or is it just her pills? Is it her anxiety? The dog's anxious, she's anxious, Stephan's anxious, Maddie's anxious, they all take pills.
His own. But
Thank you.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
This twirling behavior that we're seeing here with these little,
look,
whatever those ropes are called that come out of a hoodie. There's got to be a name for those.
Strings.
Somebody let me.
They're called strings on your hoodie. We drove to school. We missed him. Yeah, I just called that out. I haven't even seen that yet. Tweakers, tweak. Yeah, she's fidgeting with her strings. I don't know what you call that. What do they call that? They both continually talk about their meds as a mean to hold the victim card. Drawstrings. That's what we're gonna call them. Drawstrings. Meds, an excuse, and sleeping and anxiety. All right, let's hear what they have to say.
Let me know the name of those. The twiddlers. The twirling is more of an innocence play, in my opinion, than anxiety or stress. And the way that she's described, man, I thought Greg was going like this, like pointing at me, and I felt really good about it. And then I looked down at him. There's a
I'm shaking my head. Yeah. No, I was shaking my head. Yeah. And then I put my hand up. And, okay, you're dead on. You're dead on.
You know what? I'm going to take this off because I'm wearing the same thing that damn woman is, and I don't want to be. I don't want some subconscious whatever connecting me with her. I'm not doing that.
I agree with you 100%, Chase. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Me too.
I was excited for a second. I was like, oh, he's adjusting his glasses. So
funny, I don't wear these except for here. So.
Oh, I know.
You got to Chase. Go on, man.
So the way she's describing his living upstairs is really unusual compared to how her describing sleeping in another bed once was an unusual occasion. I don't know the case, so maybe somebody can enlighten me between those two things. Everything so far seems to be small and focused statements pointing to these flaws in his personality and his abilities. And if you listen close, you'll hear between the lines. He is messy and disorganized. He's unable to get jobs. He's unable to provide for us. He's unable to live the way a person is supposed to live. But I keep a clean house. I'm charitable. I supported him. I missed him. I was still trying to give him a shot. I think she's unintentionally using contrast to help the police know where to look. And I think she's wanting justice and still afraid of coming forward with it. And I'll explain that here in a little bit, the deep.
Yeah, please do explain that, because maybe subconsciously a tiny bit she is. However, she doesn't want to press charges. Maybe she's really conflicted. Paul, happy 36th birthday to you, everybody. Today is Paul's birthday, and he's in chat now. So happy birthday, Paul. Good to see you. We all love you. We're all sending love. And I hope that you, if you're not having a day today and you're not celebrating today, that you celebrate on your first day off. Yeah, good point. Chase is on point. Yeah, happy 30th. I told him 30th earlier. He said 36. We'll go with that.
Crazy. I was about to say Jungian psychology behind a lot of this crap that's going on right here. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I think there could be a lot of reasons. I agree with you. There could be a lot of reasons why things unfolded the way they did. Still, I'll hold judgment for a little while to say what I think, but I agree with you 100%. I don't think that is stress. I think, in fact, we're seeing as close to baseline as we're going to see in this person, because you can see her when she's telling that story about him moving upstairs and then to the parents. She's showing her baseline. She speaks in fragmented sentences. She doesn't use full sentences with enough detail to explain why something happened. And then she turtles a little bit and does that lilt as she pays attention to him and has her forehead up, and she's playing with those strings. She's trying to see that he's following what she's saying. I think exactly that. I don't think it's a stress relief. I think she's uncertain how the guy perceives her, and what she's doing is fishing for that approval. When you interrogate, when you're the guy sitting across the table, now you got a couple of options. One is you can put her on the mat. You can go after her and try to get a confession out of her. Likely not what they're trying to do here. So the next thing is to try to build trust. And so you get to choose at this moment, because you're seeing that exactly what Chase is saying. She's trying to show innocence. You either want to build that innocence or you want to slam her feet out from under her and go at her. And that usually doesn't work as well early in the game. She's just explaining why she put him out. Then if you want to know for sure she's looking for trust, she goes a little bit long term. But when she gets back down to that, where she's talking about giving him a base to get a start, she starts telling Mark to your downward tone at the end. She goes downward tone and
Wow.
larger illustrators. She's driving the point. So she's not feeling like she needs approval. She's feeling like she's telling you something. And I think it works pretty well. Scott, what do you got?
All right.
That actually is really interesting because I noticed she does that quite a bit in her interviews. She's really passive and she talks really low when she's not sure how they're going to perceive her. And then there are other times when she's just really like confident about what she's saying. And I always wonder what's behind that confidence. Is behind the confidence that she knows for sure she's not going to get caught in what she said, and she absolutely did what she was supposed to, maybe checking on Maddie or maybe whatever it may be, maybe her dominating the situation. But listen for those tones when she does talk, how she'll turn into a mouse and you could barely hear her, and she's trying to feel for how they're going to react to what she's saying. And then those times where she's really not catatonic, you say conatonic, when she's not catatonic and she is like really sure of herself. It's really weird. Like when she reacted to all the photos, quiet. And then other times where she's just like really confident. And there are weird times when she finds the confidence. So pay attention to that. They're odd times.
Yeah, the goofing around with the hoodie stuff. Of course, she's adapting there. We're seeing all the classics up in here.
Yeah,
we're seeing a little bit of head movement, and what it is, her head's pushed forward. Again, what she's doing, she's trying to look like she's paying attention while she's sort of shut down. She's got direct eye contact, the confirmation nods as she talks, and then the head tilts a little bit while he's talking. So she's giving the impression she's listening anyway, and the request for approval, which is Greg's thing with the eyebrows up. So she looks like she's listening. Obviously, looks like she's into it, but she's into it because she's trying to decide how much information they have, because he's leaking out just a little bit at a time that there's something going on she doesn't know about, or they have more information than she's aware of. That's one of the ways you do it. And this guy, this is good because we see him, just so you know, as we go through, watch how he boxes her in slowly but surely. He gets her in the corner and she's not going to be able to get out.
All right. And this is going to be a good segment of this. I wish that we would get more. And hopefully Deception Detective comes sooner than later with his analysis before the next big piece drops in this case. Do me a favor, y'all. We have 390 people in chat. We're about an hour in. If you can do me a favor, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I don't see a lot of new people today. Most of the people are the crime crew. But if you could, please do donate to the channel. Gift memberships. I see Malibu Surfs Up could use a gifted membership. Pretend Judge, we'd love to have you here. So if you guys have the means to gift a membership or donate to the channel, super chat, super sticker, any of the means, please help the channel out. We appreciate it. Thank you. God's mercy. There's another one that's not lit up in green. Let's get this person lit up in green.
From a logic perspective. And once that happens, you're done. So, and Greg, you covered the part about the going up, Mark's thing about where the voice is going up, and she's doing that.
What?
Although it's like a combination of loping in that too, as it goes up.
Wait, it's not Petty Mason's birthday, is it? Yeah, only donate if you have the means. Liking, sharing, and subscribing is a free way to support the channel. Lauren, Wisconsin, $4.99. Gotta get Jay to sing happy birthday. Is it Petty Mason's birthday today? Petty, Deb, is it your birthday? What? All right, if it is, happy birthday to Paul. Happy birthday to Deb. Wow, happy birthday, y'all. Singing happy birthday, I'm gonna have to think about that. But thank you for the $5 super chat. Yeah, let's see if Petty is actually her birthday. I'm assuming she's 37, right?
Which gets on my last nerve. And then she's basically just relaying facts here. I think I'm not seeing a lot of deception in this. And then I think this is good for a baseline for just relaying information. So not a whole lot of structuring going on. I think these are things she just knows and are coming out. She's not worried about protecting any of that. I don't think she has to be careful with any of that. So that's why it's flowing so easily out of her. I know it sounds weird, but that's all I got. Oh, I thought that was as funny as I did. Did that not hit you guys weird?
No, we're waiting for Mark.
Oh, geez. I thought we were done, man. Hang on a minute. Mark, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so used to going last. I thought I'd already been.
Will you quit this pity party of last? You're the only person who decides who goes first.
I don't mean to sound like I'm not into it. I'm okay.
And when it comes to the order we go in, everything is as it should be. And there's only
I love how you guys are fighting with each other. I just want to hear about this, y'all. All right, let's listen to this.
She wants to say why he's there and that it's temporary. So she illustrates. He goes upstairs to the guest bedroom, or goes up to the guest bedroom upstairs. So there's a point up and then a halt gesture on that, and a suppressive gesture, which says, like, don't go any further on that, and this will stop at some point. Because later on, she says it was a good base for him to be at, and she levels out this base, and then she goes, he was looking for something else afterwards, and does a roll-up gesture.
Right.
So what she's trying to say is, look, he went upstairs, but that's going to stop. That's going to stop very, very soon, because it's only temporary that's happening here, and he's going to go on to better things. She has better things in mind. She'd always been thinking he was moving on, and it was all going to get better. Again, it's about putting forward a reasonable story as to why he's in a potentially too close a proximity to this young female, and also that it was already sorted out that this proximity was going to stop. It was only temporary, and that's what she was always thinking. And she was never thinking that there might be something untoward going on. Let's just call it that, untoward going on. Look, clearly she sees the pressure here. Clearly she sees where this is going, and it feels to me like she knows it's going to look bad for her, and she's trying to countermeasure that all the way along. Chase, you've said it before, often when people are innocent, they're possibly not concerned with their innocence. They're possibly not concerned with creating narratives that put them in.
That's what I was trying to get to earlier. You shouldn't be worried about your narrative and how people are going to perceive you if you have nothing to hide. Now, Lauren, Wisconsin, absolutely. Why did she lie in the first place? That's the $1 million question. She lied over and over and over. And that's the only reason why the police, not the only reason, I'm sure one of the reasons were because they want to see if she could get more information, give them information about where Maddie's body might be. Remember, when they're talking to her, they hadn't found Maddie yet that day. Later on, it was 2 months later when they gave her the queen for the day, like they call that. So, yeah, ding, ding, ding. Whatever you're saying that to, she shouldn't have anything to hide. But she does, because she lies so many times. She lies so much, they have to give her a freebie pass for the day.
In a good light. They're only concerned with, can we help the victim here? Let's go find that person. Let's get this sorted out. For me, it's weighing a little too much at the moment on her putting forward reasonable stories why she's has no responsibility, not culpable, and these things we're going to move on. Again, don't like it. Doesn't look good. Don't like the look of it. But let's have a look at another, see if it changes.
Can we move on now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Move on.
Please.
Thanks. Hey, that was good, Chase. I'm going to use that for the thumbnail.
Thank you.
We'll go upstairs to the guest bedroom upstairs, because he's not a very clean guy. He's kind of a little hoarder and a collector. So just my house was always a mess, and never the way that I wanted it to look.
Yeah, they did at one
The clutter
point.
just gave me anxiety. So I asked him to move upstairs, and he did. And he lived upstairs until December of last year. And then he moved to Northport, Florida with his parents, because they had promised him a job, but that fell through. So we were in the process of trying to get him to come back up here to get his job back at Disney, and for him to move back into the house for a little bit. And I'm not sure long term. I know temporarily I was willing to accept him back.
Was that something out of convenience for him, or because you?
A little bit of both. We missed him.
Again, she's still playing with those drawstrings. She is still living with her sister, sweetie. They are definitely supporting her and shielding her from the public wanting to do things to her. But listen to this. She says some negative things about Stephan, and then she talks about wanting to help him and shield him. But she doesn't talk about that for Maddie, wanting to help her, shield her, or she doesn't talk about the tripod that was in the room or the gun that was in the room with her daughter. Doesn't make any sense. Watch her a little bit more, play with her drawstrings. That's what you call them, and her face. I don't know what that face is. Concerned for herself, maybe?
And I wanted to help him out, like make it easy, like
Yeah,
give him
of
a
course.
place, like a base to start at, and then for him to start looking for something else afterwards on his own. But
Of course you did.
So then your relationship with her was open. Obviously, she's a child. She's not going to share everything.
Yeah.
With him, it seems like she has a very open relationship with him. They talk, they hang out.
She's, in my opinion, when she stops and doesn't answer him and gets quiet and she makes that scrunchy face, she's trying to figure out what angle he's coming from and how she should answer that. Although you should be able to answer that right off the bat. If someone's asking you about and asking you this particular question, you shouldn't even have to think twice. Yeah, I agree. Self-soothing when someone lies, but in my opinion, her pauses, she's trying to figure out what angle that he's coming from so she could answer correctly.
So it'd be okay with you if they went out and did things together outside if you were at work or something?
Of course it is. She doesn't work. Barely.
So the living situation with them, I'll be honest, seems weird. It's weird to me. She's got a bedroom downstairs. What's kind of the mindset or the thought process, the communication you've had with Stephan about, she's not going to sleep in her bed, but you guys are going to go sleep in the guest bedroom?
So originally the plan was that all three of us were going to sleep in my bed together.
Why?
Yeah, I'm not just
Look at
saying
her
Sunday. I mean,
hands.
Okay. So I had a rule. She wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. Like, no sleepovers, no nothing.
So what
for
happened?
a very long time, for years.
Since we're pausing,
Yeah.
what brought that on? Was that like a request of his, like, can we sleep in the same bed, request of hers, or you just saying?
Me being super paranoid, not to trust anyone. For the longest life, even though he treated her well, I still looked at him on, like side eye, like making sure, like, is that normal? Is this okay? That's normal. Okay. I wanted to make sure that nothing was happening and that I was missing something, but I was. But
I was. She was missing.
He never
a lot.
requested.
I don't think she was missing anything.
I'm sorry. Repeat the question then.
So I guess I'm.
Greg, what do you got?
I always say the truth needs no support, but a lie loves a crutch. This is more important. Mark, I'm going to continue your last thought because rational acts do not need justification. They just don't. And you also need to know something is wrong to know that you need to justify it. Now we're tying all that back together. Same thing you're talking about, Chase, why people often are like, no, I didn't do anything. They don't think they need to make up details because it's true. This is a good example and a good study in when someone realizes that what they have done is not rational and they're trying to act like it is rational. This is going to be the longest you're going to hear me talk about this one, and I'll try to keep it as short as I can. But her cadence is very quick at the beginning. And watch that other officer, my notes, and Scott, you're talking about too, his foot vibrations looking like a rattlesnake. They're so fed up with watching this. When she starts getting questioned about the arrangements, let's talk about a cluster. She moves to an oblique angle, turns her body away from you, moves to brace on the chair, turtles, her neck goes down inside her body. She inhales, she crosses her legs, she furrows her brow. Her cadence changes to halting. She does a long vowel at so, framing her answer. I do, yes, a lot of times here to frame my answer so that if something steps on me, I got space in there. And it becomes a habit. When a person's doing something to give you that space, she does that long vowel, framing her answer. Then she does 2 bounces of her legs. All that. Already Chase pointed out one earlier that was a beautiful orphaned move. And I agree with Chase. I don't care what college person told you this is not. I've interrogated a whole bunch of people who've done that and turned out to be bad guys. So just knowing that's a fact. So then she goes on to approach, this officer's taking the approach of, I'm an ordinary guy with a rational question. She notices that and starts to defend that night. But then he moves past that night and says, not Sunday. See shock in her face? Oh, I thought that's what we're talking about. And then she does a modified batter on deck and she starts rubbing her thighs and releasing nervous energy like crazy. Moves right into a next big cluster. So brushes her hair behind her ear.
That sounds terrible that she's rubbing her thighs in front of the officers. Actually, at one point, before I saw the video, I thought she was almost flirting with the officers, the way she was talking to them. I don't know. And Maddie had her own room until Jen went and rented all the rooms out. Not because of Juan. I want to bring that to your attention because everybody's blaming everybody but Jen Soto. We should be blaming Jen Soto and Stephan Sterns, not Juan because Jen said so, and not Tyler because he wasn't a perfect guy. I can't wait until Tyler comes out and tells his own story. Everybody that's bashing him is going to apologize if they have any bit of a heart. This poor guy lost his daughter that he didn't get enough time with. I'll agree. Anna Fleming, hello from St. Cloud. Hello from California. What's going on? All right, let's keep going. This is quite a bit of a long video. They talk a lot.
Touches her face, touches her nose, exhales. All deviations from what we've seen now. Look, I could keep going on and on and on. But those two giant clusters alone have you on notice that she's not being above board at the moment. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, let me give you a good statement with some gestures that for me would fit and be fine. Rule, she's not allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. No sleepover, no nothing. Okay, that for me would be, okay, fair. Okay, good. Here's what she says, and here's roughly the gestures that go along with it. I had a rule. She was not allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. No sleepover, no nothing for a very long time. Well, when I do the first one and I do the second one for you, which one feels to you like it has just more integrity to it? It feels more effective for somebody who was, let's say, looking after the complete interests of her daughter rather than maybe both interests or the interest of the boyfriend, skewed to one angle rather than the other. Look, I'll do it again. I had a rule. She was not allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all, no sleepover, no nothing for a very long time. So clearly something of the rules disintegrate here. And with those baton gestures, which are going on every syllable at one point, she understands that there is something wrong here. This is not right. Again, just doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Scott, what you got on this one?
All right. She's continuing to adapt to that little string thing happening. I'm hearing something over here on this thing over here. I don't know what it is. It's freaking me out. It might be a mouse or something. I can't imagine we have a mouse in here, but there's something moving on. So that's why I keep looking over there. Sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Don't you have a dog? Bring the dog in there.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, she's not here.
Now, all of the officers in their reports, if you're following this case as close as we are on guilty of crime, you'll notice that a lot of things she say are irrelevant. We listen to hours and hours of audio where she doesn't say anything to help the case at all. It's very frustrating that she talks about leashing up the dog, which Stephan Sterns never talks about except for once, or she talks about them going to McDonald's to narrate the same story as Stephan Sterns. There's a lot of things that she talks about for her daughter being missing, and now, well, at some point, her daughter, she knows that she's not alive, and she says she doesn't use Maddie's name, which is another interesting take. Yeah, I do hate how she talks about slumber parties and sleepover. She wanted to have Stephan sleep over. She wanted to have a sleepover with Stephan. Never, ever, ever do that, y'all. And you guys know better than that. I don't think anybody here is dumb as Jen Soto, but she's not. She knows better. She knew better.
Well, anyway, let me start over again. She's continuing to adapt that little string on her hoodie. And even though we can't hear at the very beginning what's being said there, whatever it is a pretty big deal because that completely locks her down. Everything stops. She doesn't move. She freezes. She's in this freeze mode. And I think that's more of an intake mode for her as she's listening. This for me is a huge, I don't want to say a tell because there's so many things going on in there, but this looks like she just has intake happen at this point. She's gathering as much information as he possibly can. Then he asks her about her mindset during on the sleeping conditions. This is where that big shift is. We see the opposite leg cross, and she's repositions on the couch. We see all these things happening, like Greg was saying. I'll try to cover all of them. Her one hand is flat on the couch, her head is tilted. All these are red flags. All these things that you know something's up because he's hit on something that's made her uncomfortable. We've seen her stress go through the roof at this point. And those are the things you look for when you're talking with someone. You look for smaller things if you're not interrogating them. As you have the conversation with someone and you ask the question or the subject comes up, watch how they move, watch what they do. That's going to let you know a lot. So, and another thing is, Greg just did a list. I'll do my list too. This is a plethora of cues that we see. She's going to this explosion of facial cues, and then we see face touching, hair touching, leg rubbing, leg movement, knee clasping, that big breath out, cadence speed.
Yeah, just stay single, y'all. If you guys are parents out there and your kid's under 18, just stay single. That's what I suggest. This day and age, all this crime, true crime that we cover, just stay single. It's much better. If I feel like nowadays we don't know anybody really, and just keep your kids safe. And once you're done raising them, you can get a relationship, but then you gotta really be careful for yourself too. Good call, Kylie. I took my meds. Let's see how many more times we hear that. MM Clar, we need about 100 people to hit the like button. please. I know we're getting close to the end of the month and we're all running out of funds. Mortgage is coming. So hitting the like button is free. Subscribing is free. Like Jessica, I haven't seen you here. If you haven't subscribed, please do. She is just as repulsive and gross as Stephan Sterns, and all she cares about is her pills and sleep. But she keeps saying Stephan Sterns around, she will be letting him have access to Maddie, but blames Maddie for everything. She likes that narrative.
It's up. We see the muscles tensing. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. So at one point she puts her palm up and it just stays there. It's just odd because everything is going on in here. She's got that thing up. Now, at the same time, you say, well, that's regular. She's saying, hang on a second, I've got something to say, or I'm thinking, or whatever. But it doesn't come down. We've seen it a couple of times before. I can't remember what the video was. But you remember that one when somebody had their hand up and it stayed there? And it was a woman as well. Anybody remember who that was?
You notice her little finger moving at the same time?
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it.
Yeah, I just can't remember who it is. Anyway.
Was it the woman who said she got kidnapped?
Oh, interesting. Sherry Papini. Who knows that case? That one's crazy. What one thing that you do remember is in the video of Stephan Sterns and Jen Soto being in the mother's office when Maddie went missing, Stephan Sterns held that phone up like this for a long time, for minutes and minutes and minutes. He sat there and just held the phone like this, just straight up. And you know who does that? People that don't want somebody to take their phones or look into it. They pretend like they're being open and honest. So he sits there for a really long time. And I noticed that she does that too. It's like when you do that with your hands, it's like you're trying to show honesty, but at the same time, you're not showing honesty. You're showing that you have something to hide. That's what I've gathered from all the behavior analysis that I've done and learned with these people. When someone shows you something like that, they really are hiding it. They're trying to do the opposite of what they're showing you.
Maybe it was.
Papini might have been. Something in my mind says Papini might have. Yeah.
Sherry
Papini.
Papini.
Yeah, might have been her. I can't remember. Well, anyway, but this could be a regulator because that's when she's talking about the law around her home. The thing she's in charge of is making sure that, what happens and doesn't happen with the child and all that. Don't get me started. So, and then the space between her fingers, that's kind of odd because we see some space in between her fingers there. And that suggests competence. So maybe she feels good about her delivery and thinks she's delivering this the way it should be for his intake to accept it. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. So it's odd to see stress cues like this combined with that finger spacing. But we see it later on in the same kind of situation where we know she's not being confident. So it's one of those situations where it may not mean what it usually means, the spacing in the fingers. So, but we don't know that now because that's what we've seen. This is the first time we've really seen it. We've seen it before, but it really didn't count then. But now.
That's a really good point, Ella. She is confident when she's not lying, but that does show you that she goes quiet when she's lying, and she's quiet more often than not. So listen to her tone and how many times out of the next 20 minutes that we're watching this that she actually puts her big girl potato pants on or potato panties and actually is able to use her voice and say something that really means anything and that she's confident in saying.
Not really counts. So we're going to see it count later. We see the same thing. So this may be one of those things that proves there are no absolutes. Just because that happens doesn't mean that's exactly what it means. Scratching your nose means you're lying. Look down to the left means you're whatever they think that's supposed to mean. So
yeah,
that's something to pay attention to there. Then she straightens up like she was in the first clip. She goes back to her baseline of freezing and getting that head forward a little bit and paying attention to what's happening. That's her intake mode. So, and then she gets so lost up in her head as she's trying to structure that answer and make sure she's got everything right. She leaves everything behind as she's at the front of that and has to ask the guy what the question was because she forgets. She asks him to repeat the question. So that's odd. And I think she knows this is a dangerous spot for her and she can feel him turn the heat up. That's why we're seeing all this, because she knows it's important and knows it's a big deal.
Right.
Chase, what do you got?
She starts out with, I had a rule. I think she says, I had rule. I don't think there's an A in there. And she says, he wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. I'll add to your list. I'm mentally trying to remember what you, Greg, and Scott have listed out. There's also hesitancy, loss of fluency, sudden facial touching, reverse leg crossing, increased rapid hand movement during speech. That's all I can think of to add to that list, I think. What I want you to pay attention to is, why would this need to be a rule? If she's talking about the rule being there for a very long time, quote, and for years, This means something changed so that the rule could be removed. It's been there for a very long time. I had a rule. There's something really bizarre going on here. It's hard to piece together with the audio gaps, but having a rule that you have to communicate that you can't go to sleep with someone's D means there was pressure or requests, or at least a strong enough intuition that the rule needed to be made in the first place. For this to happen, I can
Yes.
only imagine what had to transpire for a rule to be in place. If a grown man in my home needed a rule not to sleep with somebody that age, they'd no longer be here or they'd be dead. Parents who are feeling unsure or have trouble setting boundaries might be more easily manipulated by a partner in this way. And a lack of clear boundaries between kids and a new partner is a gigantic red flag.
You know what? Stephan wasn't a new partner. He was a partner for 5 to 7 years. And she was friends with him about a year and a half before she ever started dating him, which I believe she gave access to Maddie way back when. We saw the pictures of them in the pool with Maddie on Stephan Sterns' shoulders, which makes me disgusted knowing that she had a bathing suit on and he didn't have a shirt. But yes, Amber, you nailed it. Amber Day, why would you need a rule like that? Why did she put a rule like that? Was she seeing that Stephan was too fixated on Maddie and Maddie was too fixated on Stephan? They were texting each other from across the room. They were calling each other during the day. Did she have to put that rule in because she was jealous? Because remember, she talked about the Woody Allen thing, and that's her biggest fear. Biggest fear is them falling in love, which is what happened with Woody Allen and his stepdaughter. Why would you say that? Fam Dandy says, I've been saying this the whole time. That's a weird ass boundary that shouldn't have been a thing in the first place. And there you go. Jessica Pezzo, the Woody Allen comment tells you everything. Her knowledge of what was going on, that she was scared that Maddie was gonna, when Maddie got older, Stephan Sterns would leave her for Maddie. Right. Why did she break the rule? I think they both, but a lot of times it sounds like they both pushed to sleep in the same bed. Come on, let me have a sleepover with Stephan. And he probably is the one that told her, tell your mom to do this. She wasn't of consensual age. So whatever she said or did with him, even if she thought at one point that she liked him, loved him, whatever, it was not consensual ever.
Flag. And inappropriate closeness is a cause for alarm every time, every single time. There is not an exception to this. Any kind of inappropriate closeness should be the biggest alarm of your entire freaking life every time. That's all I got.
So then your relationship with her was open. Obviously, she's a child. She's not going to share everything.
Yeah.
With him, it seems like she has a very open relationship with him. They talk, they hang out.
Big pause, y'all. Big pause.
So it'd be okay with you if they went out and did things together outside if you were at work or something?
This is where he's trying to establish where Jen Soto, where her demeanor, where she lies in this, to see if she not lies like that, but what her take is, if she's jealous of Maddie and Stephan hanging out and what she knows. He's asking those questions for a reason, and that's the reason here, to see if she's jealous, or she says, oh no, I didn't want them hanging out. Like maybe she had some suspicion, but she's saying she was okay with it.
So the living situation with them, I'll be honest, seems weird. It's weird to me. She's got a bedroom downstairs. What's kind of the mindset or the thought process, the communication you've had with Stephan about, she's not going to sleep in her bed, but you guys are going to sleep in the guest bedroom?
So originally the plan was that all three of us were going to sleep in my bed together.
Yeah, I'm not just saying Sunday. I mean, like,
I don't know why it cuts out sometimes.
Oh, okay. So I had a rule. She wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. Like no sleepovers, no nothing. For a very long time.
Sleepover?
For years.
Okay, so yeah, when did that change? That she had that boundary of no sleepovers, and I'm assuming the sleepovers meant with Stephan Sterns, y'all. I assume that. I don't know that she's as dense as we think, but she's getting irritated by the questioning, as it's bothering her. Still not think Maddie as a child would have been an active participant. No, absolutely not, my tie. I've never insinuated that Maddie was an active participant, but there's a thing when you have a captor, for instance, that you start to believe what they're saying, and her calling Stephan gives you a good indication that at some point he got her to either buy into it or she was scared of him the whole time, which I don't see that she was scared the entire time. So no, absolutely not an active participant, but there's a real thing as that. All right, let's keep going. Lots of lies here. And she's very confident right now in this. Let's listen to what she's saying. I wonder if they're going to talk about that. Probably. Strong hand gestures.
Since we're pausing, what brought that on? Was that like a request of his, like can we sleep in the same bed, request of hers, or you just saying?
Me being super paranoid, not to trust anyone.
When did that change?
Like, even though he treated her well, I still looked at him on, like side-eye, like making sure, like, is that normal? Is this okay? That was normal. Okay. I wanted to make sure that nothing was happening and that I was missing something, but I was. But
you missed something.
He never requested.
Jen.
I'm sorry. Repeat the question then.
So I guess I'm
so stupid.
I'm sorry. Repeat the question then.
So I guess when you said like you had a rule, like obviously we know now they've slept in the same bedroom together and everything else. I'm sure you're questioning a lot of things that like, you haven't been told or that are going on. The thought process of them sleeping in the same bedroom caused you to say that you had a rule for the longest time where they couldn't.
Yeah.
I have a son. He's a lot younger than her. He's 4. But I guess if I was dating somebody or had somebody over, I would never establish, and this is just me, a rule. He can't sleep in the bed with her, or she's not going to be. It wouldn't even be a thought process for me. So that's why I asked, because I wouldn't think of it even as an option.
Yeah.
So when you say you had a rule, I guess I'm asking what prompted the rule.
Sleepovers before. Yeah.
Yeah, but
like you want to watch movies and eat snacks, can you do that? I'm like,
she's totally off base with that. They were talking about Stephan Sterns sleeping there and her not letting him sleep in the bed with her and how she changed that. And she completely turned that around and said, oh no, it was from the friends. It was from her friends not being able to. Yeah, liar, liar, liar. Absolutely. Wow. Did you hear that?
I'm like, no. We can all watch movies down here together. We can all sleep down here together.
No.
Up until June.
Yes. Stockholm syndrome type of thing.
All the time. So we were always, she would sleep in the middle. I would sleep on this side. He would sleep on the other side. It wasn't until June that he got his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I kept telling her, no. I'm not comfortable with that. But eventually at some point, like we really want to watch, I forgot what movie it was. They really wanted to watch something and I was really tired. And I said, okay, fine. Go ahead, but this can't happen often. And yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him. But honestly, I think I can count on one hand how many times that's happened. And it hasn't been many times that I've allowed her to have a slumber party with him, to be alone.
Have a slumber party with him, to be alone in a bed, which we now know is 110% not true because we have lots of pictures of Stephan taking advantage of Maddie and drugging her, etc. Oh boy. All right. Yeah. That prick made her ask her mom to sleep with him. Right, Mr. Beard. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's classified as Stockholm syndrome, but I'm pretty sure he said, hey, why don't you ask your mom? Because she said after a while, she just gave in. Hello from California to Colorado. It's okay that you're late. Thank you for being here. And yes, a slumber party. Oh, Jennifer Soto is with her family, hiding out. She does not want to be harmed by anybody. She's worried about herself. She's got the wrong definition of a slumber party. She sure does. All right, let's keep going. And I know they didn't dive deeper into this, but they have done they've done this case before. Another interview.
In the bed with him. I'm usually around all the time.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so big change in behavior here. She starts adapting on the hoodie in a different way, starts to pull it down, protect, chase that uterine area, genitalia area. So under more stress, again.
Yes.
And then she leans right forward, I think elbows on knees, hands supporting the head there. It kind of looks like extreme interest. And it may be that in terms of her feigning, oh, I'm super interested in this. This is getting somewhere. But I think it might be also, or solely, just even more protection. Because I think at this point, she understands this interviewer is getting closer and closer and closer.
You guys just blow me away every time. Thank you so much, Barb Murray, for the $50 super sticker. I'm going to say it's dancing avocados. Thank you so much. That's going to go towards my bed. I just spent $4,100 on. So yeah, holy moly. Thank you so much. I do have a special birthday. Maybe it's a birthday song, but I have a birthday message for Paul. As soon as it's done, I can share it with you guys. So on this stream today, you guys wanted me to sing happy birthday. I got something even better. Thank you so much, Barb. Happy birthday to you, Paul Petty. I know your birthday is past, but all of you Libras out there, happy birthday and a happy Libra season.
To her having the possibility of knowledge of abuse. And at this point, I think it's now getting too much for her. And therefore, these two big spikes in very different behavior. Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right. You're right. He's hinting at the bait question here. He's getting close and she can feel it, man. And so he puts that little mind virus in her head about how she may not know all they know and that kind of thing. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to do all this stuff on my scribe and it keeps falling over. If you hear that banging around, that's what it is. So, so that's what's happening. She's getting close and she's feeling it. She knows it. And then this is where and you guys may remember this. This is the way she looks is the very same way I looked at Chase's wedding when Spidey came in and said, look, man, I got a bag of tricks and they're just for you. And he sat down for about 30 minutes in front of me and just did magic tricks for like 30 minutes. Just me and him. Oh God, it was awesome. And that's the way she looks, except hers looks like you're saying, Mark, that's fake. She's trying to look like, yes, I want to help and tell me what all's happening here. No, that's not, believe me, I was there. I know how that looks and feels. We're not seeing everything on her that we should be seeing. So, but she knows this is a dangerous spot. She sees that coming up. So when she realizes he's not attacking her, but he's just giving her this information, I think she doesn't understand what's happening. It's designed for that. That's why she doesn't understand it, because she's not supposed to, but she doesn't know what's happening at this point. It sort of mixes her up. And then when he talks about the snacks, that's when she relaxes and her illustrators get larger, because I believe it's, when he starts talking about that, she sort of eases up, the heat's off at that point. Again, a lot of space between the fingers. So it hasn't changed from when she was stressed to when she wasn't stressed. So I don't think in her case,
and it doesn't change. She talks about being stressed, but that's like me telling you, hey guys, guess what? I'm sad today. And just smiling and glowing and laughing and joking with you guys. Dawn B. Love, happy birthday to your grandson that turned 17 yesterday. We always want to shout out birthdays. Whenever it's somebody's birthday, let me know. And if I can catch that in chat, I will definitely catch that and shout out to you and whoever's birthday it is. If anytime you just want to shout out, let me know. KJ, I wonder why Jen didn't look side-eyed at Sterns that she didn't say no to sleepovers. I think she consented to it to keep Stephan Sterns around. That's why. Petra, thank you so much for the $4.99. Thank you for all you do. You always keep it real. Justice for Maddie. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. You're amazing. Chugga chugga. Woo woo. Thank you. All right. I can't wait to get a special birthday in for Paul, one of my favorite guys.
I don't think space between the fingers has anything to do with confidence at this point. So, but I think she's being honest about the snacks part of it. And then she scratches her face, and then notice him, he mirrors her. So I don't know if he did that on purpose or if it was just natural because he's so focused on her, because he's paying a lot of attention. Watch his feet. He's getting excited at this point because those feet are going up and down. They're patting up and down there. He's excited, but he's totally holding it together really well. This guy is really impressive. What he's doing is super impressive, I think. Holding that together, not getting upset. Nothing's really changed with his tone or anything. He's right on top of it. Then she whispers while she's telling him that she let her daughter sleep upstairs. So, and in that part,
Barb, we also have oceanfront property in Arizona, right? If you believe that, then we believe she forgot her meds, right? I have swamp land for sale in Osceola, right? Oh, I don't know the definition of sleepovers for Jen Soto, but I definitely believe she consented to those sleepovers because she wanted Stephan Sterns to be around. I can't emphasize that enough, but I hope at some point they do catch her and they do arrest her for that.
Art's
I hope
not stating
Stephan
facts
talks.
at that point. She's just she knows that's bad and she's embarrassed and that's shame and guilt right there. So I'll stop talking right there because it's going to get ugly if I don't. Chase, what do you got?
So we're the behavior panel. So I'm going to take this opportunity to dissect some of the internal behaviors that might be at play here overall. And it might help somebody out there in their life that I've never met, that we'll never meet, that maybe you're watching this video. So first of all, there's a lack of boundaries. If a mother has never learned how to
Yes.
protect her own emotional space, I hate to sound pop psychology there, but she may not know how to protect her daughter either. She might not recognize when she needs to step in or stand up for her kid if she doesn't have a clear sense of where those lines need to be drawn. That's very important. The second piece of this is insecurity. Insecurity can make somebody feel small and powerless. And for a mom, this might mean she doesn't feel strong enough to stand up to somebody harming a child. She might.
That I don't believe. That I absolutely don't believe. I believe she held all the power in this relationship. She paid for things. She controlled everything. She had access, or she gave access to Maddie. It was her condo. And I think what Jen said went. Mr. Beers, you're awesome. Thank you for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. I was going to gift some, but I don't have any right now. And it's getting close to the month. Thank you.
Might doubt her own instincts, and maybe she's afraid that if she speaks out, she's going to lose approval and affection
Yes.
and maybe her sense of stability in life. And third, I think there might be denial here. So denial is what happens when the truth feels obviously too painful to face. And a mom might convince herself that the harm isn't as
you
bad
think
as it
so?
seems, or that somebody's going to bounce back from it. And sometimes it's easier for somebody to look the other way because the confronting reality might mean dealing with guilt or shame or trauma from their own past or something like that. So here's why it happens. A lot of the time, these patterns come from a mother or father's own unresolved crap from societal pressure.
And thank you, Bree, for everything you do. Thank you for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. You already do enough, but thank you. Bree is one of our mods. She does amazing things all the time, so thank you. I can't wait for all you guys to be lit up in green in chat.
Tells somebody to stay quiet, put other people first at all costs. There's cognitive dissonance, feeling torn between protecting your daughter, avoiding conflict can freeze somebody into inaction, especially somebody who's been through a lot. And maybe she might not even realize the harm that's unfolding because of this. And I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Maybe that's what's going on in a deep sense. When somebody does something bad, we have an instant and innate sense to judge them and think that everything contains malice and a desire for harm. I don't think most of us are wired that way. So I just wanted to take a different angle at this. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll be the first guy to say you don't have to have malice to do something stupid, but you have to recognize it's wrong to be able to validate it. And that's what we're seeing in spades here. This person is not somebody who's saying, well, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Look, everybody does this. Not that at all. She knew it was wrong. Now, whether she made a mistake, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But she's covering it up and we can see it because here we see a threat is clear. She starts to brace. She shrinks. She barriers. She crosses her body. Mark, I'm with you. That adapter becomes so pronounced that you know it's now stress relief and comforting. The turtle, as this thing gets more and more powerful, we call turtling when your neck sinks down into your body and your head lowers. We can see a lot of that. Her cadence increases like crazy. It goes through the roof. And then when she gets back, it's got to be you. When she gets back to that up until June, that looks like baseline. Larger illustrators, hand use, spread fingers and thumbs. Then she does all the way back to video 1. She does that pause before she says request for sleepovers. That's bracing for impact. I'm telling you, she knows it's wrong. She knows she's in a minefield and she sets herself up right there. That's one you can walk away with. And anytime you're talking to somebody, they do it. Ask yourself, are they trying to do it for impact? Hey, I know somebody really cool. They're trying to do it for, I don't know how this is going to be received, but there's a reason when that happens. Listen to that. Listen to it very carefully. And she pauses. If you then look at the speed of that illustrator as she's talking about the sleepovers. Look how quickly her hands are moving. Then she does face touching, leg crossing, fidgeting, turtling, and moves to the most irrational argument I've heard in the entire night. And that
she's turtling. That's funny. That's a funny saying. I'm looking to see if this is ready yet. We have the best, if I didn't tell you, we have the best crime crew ever here. Guilty of Crime is just, you guys are so amazing. The stuff that you do for us is fantastic. And Carrie, I got that. I'm going to play it at the end because you have music in it and they're going to demonetize this. So I'd rather play it at the end so that if they demonetize the end, I can cut out the music. But Paul, I do have a happy birthday from you from Guilty of Crime, and we always have the crime crew here to help. So thank you. I also thought I have a comment about something. I saw Patreon being blasted here. Clar signed up for Patreon. I decided what I'm going to start doing is putting documents on Patreon so you guys can, since you're signing up for it, you guys can grab the documents without having to dig for yourself, dig everywhere to get the documents. Like, let's say the affidavit for P. Diddy. Now, I'm not charging for the documents, but since you're signing up for Patreon and we're going to have some cool Patreon things going on where it's not edited. We can talk more about things, do crazy things on Patreon. Patreon is active. We're gonna put more content on Patreon and just give that to you. So you're not signing up for nothing. You actually have a benefit to it. So I don't want anyone to think I'm selling the documents. I'm just gonna put it up there so you guys can have them, and I don't have to email them to everybody all the time. All right. When you're doing a number 2, yes, that's what I was thinking, Barb Murray. I knew you were dope. I knew you were cool. I knew I could get down with you. That's what they call turtling when you're about to take a poop, or you're about to take a poop and you can't hold it in. I'm like, why are they saying turtling? Thank you, Barb. It's not just my sick sense of humor. Thank you so much. I'm gonna start loading up Patreon, and I'll have the ladies help me out with that. So we're going to do some fun things there as well as here on Guilty of Crime and the memberships. We'll have both options or all of them.
It only happened a few times. That sounds like a person who's groomed a child or somebody who's done something inappropriate with children. It only happened a few times. Well, one time is all it took. That's all I got.
What was that? What was that you were drinking, man?
I'm sorry.
Her hands.
So I guess when you said like you had a rule, like obviously we know now they've slept in the same bedroom together and everything else. I'm sure you're.
She's nervous there when they're talking about sleeping in the same bedroom. She got really nervous right there. I just noticed that. And look at her hands; they're really stiff. But she was adjusting her shirt at the bottom, and she kept moving. She's like moving in closer. Because when you move in closer like that, you want someone to be on the same page with you and connect, in my opinion. Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Carol. I am reminding you, go out, hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, Linda Glover, I don't know if you subscribe, please do. I'd love to hit 18,000 tonight. 18,000 subscribers. That'd be great. All right. Look at her, nervous, and those hands. It's like she's got mittens. Like, when people just wear mittens, like a one-piece mitten, she can't move her hands. What is up with her?
Questioning a lot of things that you haven't been told or that are going on. The thought process of them sleeping in the same bedroom caused you to say that you had a rule for the longest time where they couldn't.
Yeah.
I have a son. He's a lot younger than her. He's 4. But I guess if I was dating somebody or had somebody over, I would never establish, and this is just me, a rule. He can't sleep in the bed with her, or she's not going to be. It wouldn't even be
right.
a thought process for me. So that's why I ask, because I wouldn't think of it even as an option.
Yeah.
So when you say you had a rule, I guess I'm asking what prompted the rule.
Sleepovers before. Yeah. Like, you want to watch movies and eat snacks? Can you do that? I'm like, no. We can all watch movies down here together. We can all sleep down here together.
She's not on disability for her arthritis, Malibu. I wouldn't make fun of anyone, but she's not on there for that. I was according to the roommate, she's on disability because of her mental status and her bipolar and not being able to hold down a job. Barb Murray, $5. Women in prison are way more ruthless with this kind of crime. I agree, and I think they would completely tear Jen Soto up. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. You're amazing. And please do stay here. I got the special birthday for Paul birthday video. It's just a quick 1-minute video, but it just shows you how great the crime crew is and how close we are as a little family.
Up until June.
All the time. June what?
So we were always, she would sleep in the middle. I would sleep on this side. He would sleep on the other side.
Again, why is she in the middle? Why is she in the middle? We know that men wake up with woods. There's nothing wrong with that if you're a man, but you don't sleep in the middle. You don't put your daughter in the middle. Malibu is just making a joke. She knows Jen is guilty. Oh, right. Yeah. I just sound passionate about my stuff. I'm sorry. I didn't mean any, I didn't mean that. I couldn't tell you were joking, but I thought you were saying that she got disability because her arthritis. My bad. You know me. I'm like, oh, rest Jen Soto.
Bedroom, and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I kept telling her no. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that. But eventually, at some point, like we really want to watch. I forgot what movie it was. They really wanted to watch something, and I was really tired. And I said, okay, fine. Go ahead, but this can't happen often. And yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him. But honestly,
Listen to her voice
I think I
drop.
can count on one hand how many times that's happened, and it hasn't been many times I've allowed her to have a slumber party with him, to be alone in a bed
Oh, man.
with him. I'm usually around all the time.
Thank you. She's so stupid. I want to smack her. Right. I don't know what's happening here, but let's go a little forward.
That was still me under the assumption that I think at one point you guys interviewed me, and when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff fine, but what if she's still missing out there?
I can't, y'all. How are you going to say that I heard you told me about the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he did something evil to her? Why does she not think that sexual assault is evil? Oh, okay. I have the content that I'm going to start sharing with you guys. I think we're going to get into some of this a little bit more that relates to Maddie's case. And when I say relating to Maddie's case, I mean, there are children that do survive this. Yeah, BJ is not evil. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is when there's a little kid involved. Or ANAL. It's very evil and it ruins your life. And yes, mom, absolutely. The sexual thing is evil. My mom still suffers from it to this day. It scars you mentally and emotionally. And mom, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Thank you for protecting me. I never had to go through that. Sexual stuff is very evil. Now, what I was talking about was that I have a particular case that I want you guys to listen to with me, where this guy that's in prison, he's in prison because he raped his 6-year-old daughter that's biological. And he's talking to the parole board about what he did, and he's almost not even like nothing's hitting him. He's just telling the parole board what they want to hear, and they give this guy 4 years and they let him out. And all he can say is, I want to be around my daughter and have a good relationship. And they're like, but you don't get it, sir. You raped your 6-year-old biological daughter and she wants nothing to do with you. She's scared of you. So I want you to see that if Maddie would have survived this, I want you to see other cases where we can compare what might have happened to Maddie if Jen would have kept going along with this like that, and they would have caught Stephan doing that. He might have only gotten 4 years and then parole. It's really a comparable case. I gotta share this with you all.
There, what if somebody took her? I still wanted to believe his. I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I'm just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if I got abducted? What if she's missing?
Yes.
But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was the good guy still, but clearly he's not. After everything you guys have told me and have shown me, I know he's the worst person on this face of the earth right now.
We know he's a piece of shit now.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, Scott, I'm going to leave to you that single shoulder shrug. I have very little, but you see that respiration and tap dance she does that shows stress. It's almost like she's got a little show going on the floor. She sounds like she knows he did this sexual thing, but nothing evil. She said those words. Hold on. Are you grading the levels of evil so you're not complicit in the worst of them? That's the most dumb, rationalizing dissonance I've ever heard in my entire life. Scott, what do you got?
All right. She says, I heard someone in the kitchen, but I don't know who that was. That's when we see that single shoulder shrug and her chin toward it. Now, I'm always saying that was pointed out to me. And Joe Navarro even talks about it. Every time I've ever seen that, that person is being deceptive. Every time I've ever seen it. Every time we've seen it on here, I've been under the impression that person's being deceptive. And so that's what we see right out of that gate on that one. She's talking about she didn't know who it was when she heard someone in the kitchen. She knew exactly who it was. And then we're seeing what looks like, again, that freeze response that she clicks down into when he says, you're nervous. The police have showed you their hand. That's when she freezes because they have, and she knows it. So she at this point, this is where he's closing in on her, and it gets good. So
he is starting to close in on her and tighten up so she doesn't feel so comfortable. Now, the cops didn't say Jen was full of shit. They said we now know that Stephan was full of shit. Yeah, Paul, you don't put your kid in the same bed, period. There's so many things that she did wrong.
after that, she gets back to her original freeze position that we saw in video 1. And that's her hands on her lap, her legs together, and that tilted head that she's going to. So that's become sort of a baseline for her freeze up as we go through this. I think all this has overwhelmed her brain, and she's afraid she's going to look guilty. That's why she's doing that, because she doesn't know how to not look guilty. She hasn't thought about that, or she thinks if you look guilty, if you do anything else, that's what I think her positioning there is about. That's why she looks like a guilty mannequin. But I think he's doing a fantastic job as he sees this happen. Now, if you listen to what she says, she says she doesn't believe what he did was evil. So she says, what if he did this stuff? Fine. But what if somebody took her? So she's saying all the stuff he did, fine. What if he did that? That's fine. But what if somebody took her? That right there told me everything about.
And so what if he raped her, but I don't think he was the one that took her, what she's saying. And Tell 2 uses hand gestures in line. Well, I hope not, Synth, because I always use hand gestures. I'm one of those people that when I talk, I'm very expressionate. So I think, I guess it depends on how she's gesturing and what she's saying. I do love the guilty mannequin that he said. But yeah, hand gestures, I'm always, as a matter of fact, I use so many hand gestures and I'm so descriptive when I talk that somebody before I started my channel said, "Hey Jay, you need your own channel." Well, here you have it. Yeah, the look on her face is priceless. Mr. Beer says, "I retired 10 years ago, was blessed to do so. My passion is to help children. Thank you all for being here and donating your time to help these kids." Yes, and that's what I want to talk about. This other case is a case that what would have happened to Maddie if she would have survived. It's very similar. Yeah, I talk in Italian. I talk Italian style. All right. It's JD Delara. How you doing? Good to see you. Believe me, I talk with my hands. I'm a quarter Italian. I'm not Italian at all. I'm just very expressionate. All right, let's listen to these guys. This was a good part.
What went on in that house and what you're dealing with, and the mindset that's going on in there, what kind of headset we're dealing with in there. So that sort of shut me down from then on about it. I don't see how this guy's keeping his cool and all that. I do, but I mean, it's really tough. So this is where he tells her that he knows she has guilty knowledge. And then that's why she tightens up. That's why she straightens up. That's why everything shuts down. That's why she starts acting like that. That's why she goes into that freeze response. And because she knows that he knows. That's why we're seeing so many odd behaviors in there. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, it's just that one line that you said there, Scott. What if he did this stuff? Fine. That I can't think of a way. I'm Chase. I'm usually pretty good at catching the good in most stuff. I can't talk this one round. I can't find a way to kind of go, okay, here's the opposite end of this. Here's why this might have some real integrity, something good about it. Here's what she really meant by this. Here's what, no, can't find it. What if he did this stuff? Fine. It doesn't, I can't do anything for you on this one. That's just bad. That's just not going to go well. Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, totally agree. And the investigator here, I love this guy. Yeah. He's highly trained or has some kind of a skill. If it's natural skill, I'm even more impressed. So rarely we see somebody who clearly articulates where attention is paid and where priorities lie. He's even checking in with her each step of his way to make sure she understands his train of thought. Scott,
he gives her, I think I don't know what he thinks about her. I think he thinks she's lying, but he also thinks she's a little slow, like we all thought at first. Noelle with an E? No, Jennifer Soto's mom and dad did not trust their grandchild with Stephan Sterns at all. As a matter of fact, they didn't want Stephan Sterns anywhere near. And Stephan Sterns didn't move his way into that condo until Jen Soto's dad moved out. Nobody wanted him around. They all knew, and I wish they would have done something. Chase is so bloody sweet. Jen looks as someone who thinks they're about to be found out. Yes, I couldn't have said that better. USA Kiwi 1986. I agree.
Yells at me about getting this microphone too close, and now I'm self-conscious about it, so I'm adjusting it.
That's okay. I'll fix it in the mix.
Thank you so much. So she says she's missing out there. It's a weird use of words. There's all kinds of behavior here. I'll leave it to you guys. This has several red flags. I'd be moving for the confrontation and shifting from interview to interrogation mode here. And I'm going to be straight with you. I want to do this in a way. I'm going to give you a monologue if you guys will allow me to just go on and show you what a monologue in this instance might look like from the hip. So one of the first steps of like launching into interrogation mode is this lean in here. So I'm going to do a little lean in for you. And it might sound like this. You know what, Jennifer, I'm going to be straight with you. I know this is hard, but we need to clear something up. I've seen a lot over the years, and no mother lets this happen unless she's protecting somebody. And I don't think you wanted to believe that he could do this. And I totally get that. Maybe you froze. Maybe you didn't know what to do. By the time you realized what happened, it was too late. And you made a choice to stay silent. And I know why. You thought if you pretended nothing was happening, it might just go away. I would have felt the same way. But it didn't. Your little girl was gone, and you weren't ready to face that. So you did what you thought you had to. You protected him. And when she was reported missing, you had another choice. And I know you love her. The only way to show her that love now is by giving her peace. And we both know she didn't vanish. She's been left somewhere. And it's been eating at you ever since then. And I know you're scared. You're scared of losing everything, scared to admit what you know, but this isn't going away. And you still have a chance to do what only a mother can do. And that's give her peace. Because right now, every day that you stay silent, you're choosing him over her. That's what a monologue sounds like.
Right, that's good. Nailed it.
And whether or not that's what you felt, does that make sense? People
So
having lawyers is a
stupid.
constitutional right. That is a thing that
Look at her
everyone is afforded.
hands.
But for somebody who's going through what you are going through, to offer him a lawyer leads me to believe that there may have been a conversation, there may have been knowledge, or there may have been some inclination that you had, whether it be his involvement, her location, or something to where in your mind there's guilt.
I promise you,
Because you offering him a lawyer is very weird.
I know. That was still me under the assumption that I think at one point you guys interviewed me, and when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff? Fine. But what if she...
All right, you guys know I need to stop that when she says, I believe the sexual stuff, but I didn't believe the other stuff. So how could they let her get a pass on that? That's just unacceptable, everybody. That's unacceptable that she believed it because she knew it. Is that why she believed it? But somebody said earlier, and I've always thought this, that she took a lot of drugs and medicated herself so she'd forget about the things that's happening that are going on right there. It's very enraging. And Randy B, you're right. No, Jen, no. I think she did drug herself up to forget about this. Absolutely. Wow. Arrest Jen Soto now.
She's still missing out there. What if somebody took her? I still wanted to believe I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I was just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if she got abducted? What if she's missing? But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was a good guy still, but clearly he's not. After everything you guys have told me and have shown me, I know he's the worst person on this face of the earth right now.
We know he's a piece of shit now.
All right.
Yeah.
We watched the videos and made up our mind about what we've seen pretty much. Mark, what do you think we've seen so far?
Yeah, listen, just one thing sticks with me, and I think it's worth saying, is whenever you introduce anybody new to your home, especially your kids, predators, the main thing they need is access. Access. That's what it's about. First of all is access. So always know when you introduce...
Yeah, I want you to know, everybody, in USA Kiwi 1986, all of this can be used against her. Absolutely. Every time she lied in the interviews, even the interviews with the media, those could be used against her. The only time that they couldn't be used against her was in the interview where they said what you say can and won't be used against you in this circumstance unless we catch you lying. Like she says one thing and then they find a video later on with Jen holding the camera. That's the only thing. Oh, in my opinion, sold access. Well, we know Stephan Sterns did. We know that he was buying and trading things according to the police, and he had other photos of other children. All right, we're getting close to wrap this up. I appreciate all of your comments. Everybody here, stay here so we can do the happy birthday for Paul. Paul, I hope you're still here.
Somebody new to your home, especially your kids, you need to be thinking, and it's an awful thought to have, but you owe it to those kids that you look after, that you have real responsibility for, to bias towards the negative and always be thinking, is this somebody trying to get easy access as a predator? It most likely won't be, but you want to keep up that thought process for as long as you possibly can, and then even a little bit longer. Better to be very safe than very sorry or culpable in the end. Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Always ask who people are. And if they're getting close to your kids, you need to have a direct conversation about that. I think it's okay to talk about that with your kids. One of the things I tell my kids throughout their whole life growing up is, if a grown-up asks you to keep a secret, you need to be terrified. You need to be very, very scared of that. Any grown-up in your entire life ask you to keep a secret, unless it's a Christmas gift, you need to be very scared. Inside of this woman here, there's so much conflict and internal turmoil going on. I don't think there's much empathy, but I think there's some kind of internal struggle about allegiances, and I need to maintain some kind of allegiance to this person. I think it's still going on, and I think the video was, in my opinion, full of very questionable statements. Greg?
Yeah, ask yourself a question. Whatever this thing I'm doing, is it rational and can withstand the light of day?
Yes.
Especially when it regards your children, but just in general in life. Hey, if somebody asked me, would I have to come up with justification for this? Well, if the answer is no, you're probably doing something okay. But if you have to think about, if I were in court and I had to make up a reason why I'm doing this, okay, there's this guy who lives in your house and he needs to sleep in another room and you are tired and whatever that list is, make him sleep in her bedroom, make her, whatever it is. Just be rational. And to everybody said it to now, the most important thing in your life is try to protect your kids as best you can. And this is a tragedy. I don't know. She has not been charged. I don't know if there's a chargeable offense, but it certainly doesn't look good for her, regardless of whether it's chargeable or not. Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a great example of seeing someone who knows they've done something wrong, who knows their behavior.
I like that he said if this is a chargeable offense or not, we're still not for Jen Soto, whether she gets arrested or whether she doesn't. All of us in our hearts know that she did not do the right things, and she's going to walk around with this for a long time, well, forever. She's gonna hold guilt. I don't know what kind of person she is, if she's a sociopath or what's going on. Maybe she doesn't feel guilt or remorse. I have no idea. But if she never gets arrested, well, Casey Anthony's not a good example, because now she's running around with some dude that she broke up their marriage of 20 years. So I don't know how good of an example that is. I would hate to see Jen Soto getting famous off of this case and doing documentaries and making money. Jay? Avocado. Thank you for all you do. Don't forget to hit the like, y'all. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, they nailed this. This was a great interview.
Was not the thing to do and not the way to be, and watching somebody slowly close in on them, and where there's no way out of it. That's what's happened here. We'll put some links below to some places that'll tell you what to look out for child abuse. So if something's happening at school or something's happening with a neighbor, some signs you can look for in their body language. We can do a whole show on that, but we'll put some links down there for you where you can go and look at get some information on that, so you'll know what it looks like when you see it, because most of the time those things you'll see them. Once you know what they are, you'll be able to spot them if you've got that problem, or if you suspect that. So we'll put some links below for some things to go to get a look at that.
All right, and you guys can go, and if you haven't already subscribed, sometimes I watch these channels and I realize that I didn't subscribe to them for a really long time. All right, so that was the end of that. We did a fantastic thing here today, I think, by breaking this down, talking with each other. It is a Saturday. I'm beat right now. I'm tired. We've got to move the couches tomorrow to get the bed in. So I got a lot going on. I'm gonna do this birthday. I don't know if it's a song. I haven't got to watch it yet, but this birthday for Paul, special happy birthday from Carrie and the Guilty of Crime crew. So don't forget that we do things like this on my channel. If you have somebody you want to say happy birthday to, or it's part of the crime crew and you want a special happy birthday to somebody on the channel, always email me and let me know. All right, Paul, this is for you. Yes.
Mama told me when I was young, sit beside me, my only son. Listen closely to what I say.
Thank you, Carrie. And look at that. We got Wade coming up after that. We know what your interests are. Whoa, that's big. All right. Thank you to Carrie. Everybody say happy birthday to Paul. We love you. You know, I've adopted you now. You are my Papa Paul. So you got to tell your daughters that there's a new daughter in town, and that's me. All right. So we all love you. I care about you. And you are part of my family, Paul. So love you. Happy birthday. Go enjoy yourself, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. And since Jay, you're matchmaking. Hey, ladies, you better go get Paul before he's gone. So yeah, happy birthday, Paul. We love you. And I see a Cupid coming very soon. So yeah, swoop up on Paul before he's gone, y'all. Happy birthday. Happy 36th birthday, Paul. We love you and you have a good night.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?